Welcome back to the Savage Plus Sanctified podcast, where we talk grown woman kingdom wisdom, relationships, healing, money, and peace without sugarcoating anything. I'm your host, Valerie Logans. Now, today we are talking about dating. More specifically, how to stop talking to somebody you do not want without acting like you joined the Federal Witness Protection Program. Because apparently, disappearing is now considered communication. And if you've been here with me before, you already know how I move. I don't talk about what I haven't lived, and I don't teach what I haven't walked through. And whew, let me tell you something. I have absolutely been ghosted before. Now listen, before we even get into this, let me say something clearly because discernment matters. I am not talking about situations where somebody is manipulative, aggressive, unsafe, obsessive, disrespectful, or violating your boundaries. Some people absolutely need immediate distance. That is wisdom. I am talking about ordinary dating situations where somebody simply knows they are no longer interested. But instead of communicating honestly, they disappear like they owe the FBI money. And years ago, before I found my forever person, I was on a dating app and met this guy who honestly seemed like he could potentially be that guy. Now, this man came all the way across the country to see me, sent flowers, called consistently, texted consistently, did all the things. And if we're being honest, ladies, consistency will have you over there thinking, well, all right now, maybe the Lord is moving. Everything seemed good. Then he came for a second visit and stayed for 2 weeks. And the whole time I thought everything was flowing naturally. We were talking, laughing, texting, connecting. At least that's what I thought. Then suddenly, nothing. No calls, no texts, no communication. Now at first I tried to be mature about it. I said, well, maybe he's busy. Maybe work got hectic. Maybe something happened. Now, meanwhile, my spirit already knew something was off. But you know how we do sometimes, trying to give people the benefit of the doubt while our intuition is standing in the corner screaming. A month went by, a whole month. I was in disbelief. I was like, I know he did not just. I was on twist. Finally, I picked up the phone and called him. And when he answered, he said he could not talk right then because he was at work, but he would call me back after he got off. And to his credit, he did call back. And that conversation hurt because he basically told me it was over and that he was going to marry another woman near his area on the East Coast. Then after that, he blocked me. Now listen, was I hurt? Absolutely. Was I confused? Absolutely. Because when somebody goes from heavy communication to silence, your mind starts trying to fill in blanks that honesty could have solved immediately. But even though it hurt, I still respected one thing. He told me with his voice, not through a text, not through social media silence, not through breadcrumbing me emotionally for 6 more months. And honestly, I wish he had told me a month earlier, because confusion can be emotionally cruel too. That experience taught me something important. Clarity may hurt temporarily, but confusion drains people slowly. And a lot of modern dating is people slowly draining each other emotionally because nobody wants uncomfortable conversations. Now let's tell the truth here. Half these situationships are being kept alive by boredom, loneliness, ego, and Wi-Fi. That's it. No direction, no intentionality, no real future. Just 2 people exchanging emojis, random compliments, and good morning texts with absolutely no idea where things are going. And if we're being honest, some people are not confused. They are being avoided politely, and there's a difference. One thing I've noticed about modern dating is people are deeply uncomfortable with disappointing others, especially women, because many women were raised to over-explain, over-comfort, over-nurture, and emotionally carry everybody around them. So now you're on FaceTime listening to a man explain cryptocurrency, fantasy football, and his business ideas for an hour and 15 minutes when you already know you do not want that man. Meanwhile, your soul left the conversation before he even got to Bitcoin. Now, don't laugh too hard because some of y'all know exactly what I mean. And instead of simply being honest, people start breadcrumbing emotionally. A little flirting, a little distance, random check ins, slow replies, enough attention to keep the connection alive, but not enough honesty to create clarity. And eventually, everybody ends up emotionally confused. Now, let's ground this in Scripture because communication and honesty matter spiritually too. Matthew 5:37, New King James Version says, "But let your yes be yes, and your no, no. For whatever is more than these is from the evil one." That scripture is simple but powerful. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Now, that does not mean becoming cruel. It does not mean humiliating somebody. It does not mean acting superior because you lost interest. But it does mean honesty matters. Because ghosting often comes from avoidance, not kindness. And avoidance can actually become selfish. Because instead of having one uncomfortable conversation honestly, people leave somebody emotionally suspended for weeks or months, trying to decode mixed signals like they're solving a true crime documentary. Now, again, let me balance this because wisdom matters too. Everybody does not deserve unlimited emotional access to you. Some people absolutely do not respect boundaries. Some people hear no as negotiation. Some people think persistence is romantic when it's actually emotionally exhausting. And ladies, no ma'am, that's where discernment enters. Proverbs 4:23, New King James Version says, "Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life." Protecting your peace matters. Protecting your emotional health matters. Protecting your mind matters. So this is not about teaching women to over-explain themselves into emotional burnout. This is about learning the difference between discernment and avoidance. And honestly, a lot of dating confusion exists because people are entertaining connections they already know they do not want. That's the real issue. Some people are dating intentionally. Others are dating because they are lonely, bored, wounded, curious, or seeking validation. And if you are not honest with yourself about that, you will emotionally entangle people you never intended to build with in the first place. Now let's tell another truth. Attention is not connection. Just because somebody texts you every day does not mean they align with your future. Just because they compliment you does not mean they are emotionally healthy. Just because you enjoy talking to them does not mean they are your person. And some people are maintaining entire situationships because they enjoy being desired more than they enjoy the actual person. Whew. That one right there is heavy duty, and it landed. Now, another thing I had to learn is this. Rejecting somebody kindly is not cruelty. Leading them on because you are uncomfortable with honesty is. That changes things. Because mature dating requires clarity, not perfection, clarity. Ephesians 4:25, New King James Version says, "Therefore, putting away lying, let each one of you speak truth with his neighbor, for we are members of one another." Truth matters. Again, truth does not require cruelty. People do not need a 10-page emotional exit interview explaining why you are not interested. Sometimes simple and respectful is enough. I don't think we're compatible. I don't see this progressing romantically. I think we want different things. That is enough. Now, some people listening are probably thinking, but what if they get upset? Well, they might. Rejection is uncomfortable. But somebody else's disappointment does not automatically mean you did something wrong. That is another lesson grown women have to learn. You are not responsible for emotionally managing every person's reaction to your boundaries. And honestly, some women stay in conversations way too long because they are afraid of being perceived as mean. Meanwhile, they are emotionally exhausted talking to somebody they already know they do not want. That is not kindness. That is avoidance wrapped in politeness. Now let's be real about another layer too. Sometimes ghosting happens because people are afraid of confrontation due to past experiences. And I understand that, especially if somebody has dealt with manipulation, guilt tripping, explosive reactions, emotional pressure, or aggressive behavior before. But healthy communication still matters whenever possible. Colossians 4:6, New King James Version says, "Let your speech always be with grace, seasoned with salt, that you may know how you ought to answer each one." That scripture is balanced beautifully. Grace and wisdom, kindness and clarity, not cruelty, not confusion, not emotional limbo. And honestly, dating gets healthier when people stop trying to avoid discomfort at all costs. Because discomfort is part of adult communication. And another thing, please stop resurrecting emotionally dead connections because you got lonely for 23 minutes on a Thursday night. Some of y'all are spiritually reenacting zombie movies with old situationships. The relationship died in February. Why are we texting, "Hey stranger," in July? Leave Lazarus in the tomb. Now, let me ask you something honestly. Have you been avoiding clarity because you don't want uncomfortable conversations? Have you been entertaining somebody you already know you do not want? Have you confused attention with genuine connection? And if you're honest, are you keeping people emotionally nearby because loneliness feels heavier than honesty? Now let's get some clarity here. Which one sounds most like you right now? A, I struggle with hurting people's feelings. B, I stay in conversations too long out of guilt. C, I avoid difficult dating conversations completely. D, I realize I need stronger emotional boundaries. And if you had to rate yourself from 1 to 5, how healthy is your communication, your honesty, your discernment, your boundaries, your emotional clarity? Now let's talk solutions, because awareness without action changes nothing. For the next 7 days, I want you to pay attention to every emotionally unclear connection in your life. Not toxic necessarily, just unclear. And ask yourself honestly, am I continuing this because I genuinely see potential, or because I enjoy the attention, comfort, familiarity, or temporary distraction from loneliness? That question alone will clear up a lot. And if there's somebody you already know you do not want romantically, practice honesty with grace, not cruelty, not breadcrumbing, not disappearing mid-conversation like your phone fell into the ocean. Clarity. And I also want you to get comfortable sitting with temporary discomfort instead of creating long-term confusion for yourself and others. Because mature communication requires courage, not perfection, courage. So let me leave you with this. Ghosting may feel easier in the moment, but clarity creates peace. And healthy dating requires honesty, discernment, boundaries, and emotional maturity. Because not every connection is meant to continue, and that's okay. Now, if you know of a person who might benefit from this episode, please share if you benefited, and like it, please hit the thumbs up. And of course, if you like being here, please subscribe. Until next time, stay grounded, do the work, and don't grab what cost you your peace.